Today we're taking a look at the classic Lumia 920 versus the Lumia 830. Is it worth the upgrade or is it more of a side grade? Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Daniel Rubino here, Windows Phone Central, and we're just doing a quick comparison today between the Nokia Lumia 830 and the Nokia Lumia 920, a venerable Windows phone that many of you guys probably still have. And so the question we get asked often is, should you get the 830? Is it an upgrade from the 920? It's a tough question to ask. I mean, for one, they're different classes, right? This is the 9 series, it's the 8 series. Traditionally, this one's always been a little bit more advanced. Interestingly enough, though, what Nokia's been doing is been making the lower series a little bit more attractive. So this thing actually has some features in it that the 920 doesn't have, and it's actually pretty impressive for an 800 series device. First of all, we can spin around here to the back and just take a look at the cameras. You're looking at a 10 megapixel pure view camera over here, and this one is an 8.7 megapixel, so you get a little bit larger on the 830. They're both pure view, both optical image stabilization. This one does have a better microphone placement since it's on the back. And in performance-wise, you also get an extra 6 lens element with the Nokia Lumia 830, where this one only has 5. And it does make a difference. I could definitely say the 830's photos are sharper than the 930's, which can be a little bit soft. So depending if that's important to you, this camera performs slightly better than the 930's does. Of course, it's almost 2 years difference between the two. So maybe that also says a lot about how good the 920 still is in 2014, but there's a clear difference there. More to the point, internally, you're looking at a dual-core 1.5 gigahertz Snapdragon S4 in the 920, and that's actually a pretty old chipset. In the Lumia the Lumia 830, you're getting a quad-core Snapdragon S400, which is obviously a much newer chipset. So the main takeaway here, though, is dual-core, quad-core. This one's 1.5 gigahertz. This one's only 1.2 gigahertz. But if you follow PCs and know how processors work, base speed isn't what it's all about. In fact, having more cores on board can certainly make a difference, as well as a newer GPU, which technically this has as well. For benchmarks, which I've posted at Windows Phone Central, and using this app here called Basemark, you can see that the 920 actually slightly outperforms the 830. I say slight because it depends on how many times you run the test. You somewhat get different results, but the 920 definitely has the higher base score. Interestingly, the 830 has a stronger core score. So for the actual system, the 830 actually does very well. It's most likely due to its quad-core structure, whereas the dual-core lags a little bit. But the GPU is actually pretty good on the 920. So in terms of real-world performance, so benchmarks are one thing, but how does actually launching an app actually work? Does it matter? The 830 performs very, very well. The 830 is it's a fast device. I'm going to launch here Subway Surfers, and you can see how well both perform. In the past, I've usually seen the 830 actually edge out the 930 here, and this I think is because of its quad core. So they both loaded the same, but this one I guarantee will probably come on quicker. Still waiting. This game is not very quick. That's why I always choose to use that as an example. And there you go. Still waiting here at a 920. And now the 920 is loaded. So that's a great example of just how those extra cores can actually help in everyday performance, and where benchmarks don't necessarily tell the whole story. And in fact, when I go to exit, it's going to give me the screen. Watch, the 830 even exits a little bit more quickly. It's those little subtle differences that you notice. That's not to say it's all the same. Sometimes I find the animation a little bit smoother on the 920 versus the 830. but it can vary from app to app. But overall, the 830 performs in a very similar fashion to the 920. So if you're looking to upgrade, it's more like a side grade, I would say. And that's not to dismiss it. If you really like the 920 and are basically happy with it, the 830 is actually a suitable replacement for 2014. You're not necessarily getting a huge difference in performance or features, but you're getting a much lighter phone. This is only 150 grams, where this is 185. That 35-gram difference actually makes a difference. Looking at dimensions, once again, the 830 is significantly thinner than the 920, so that's sort of a big deal as well. Going to the 830's other features, though, this has a removable back, so I can actually just pry this off here and swap out the battery if I need to, and a lot of people really, really like having that feature. Additionally, this also has a micro SD card in it. So the 920 can come with 32 gigs of storage. This only has 16, but you can throw that micro SD card up to 128 gigs, and that gives you way more options for storage with the 830. So that's a pretty big deal. Slightly higher range camera as well with the 10 megapixels. Like I said, it's a little bit sharper, and you're getting things like Lumia denim right away. You're also getting a larger display. This is a 5-inch versus a 4.5-inch on the 920. So those little things do make a difference. So you also get sensor core with this, which if you ever wanted to count your footsteps and use some of those neat apps, you can definitely use that with the 830. The 920, of course, does not have that feature, though, built in. So overall, very close phones. If you do have a 920 and you're considering getting the 830, like I said, it's a nice, I would say, a side grade. You're getting much newer hardware. It's thinner, it's lighter, it's fun to use, and it'll give you a very similar experience to the 920. You're not really giving up anything. In fact, you're gaining quite a few new features. Having said that, I know many of you guys are really looking for a flagship Windows phone, and you really are looking to upgrade to a 920 to something higher. And the 930 technically is that phone, but a lot of people are not necessarily convinced. In that case, you're still better waiting off until 2015. And that's when we expect some real flagship stuff along with Windows 10. But head to Windows Phone Central. You can read the write-up, see the benchmark scores, and some other photo comparisons I do with the cameras, and you can actually see the results there. But let us know what you think, and if you're considering the 830. Take care, everybody.